to our website, senecasting.ca, and it actually has all our videos from all our fitness classes, all our workshops and stuff. So you can head there, and it'll probably be a couple of days after the session, maybe 2 or 3 days. Sometimes it's actually overnight, but if you check our website, you can rewatch for anything that you might have missed or anything I need clarification on. But as I go, if you have any questions, you can definitely throw them in the chat. But I'm going to start. Thanks for joining us today. We run this workshop twice a year. So each semester we do it, and sometimes we actually do it over the summer as well. It's just to help everybody kind of get introduced to meal prep. It sounds really scary. One of the biggest barriers of doing meal prep is just kind of how intimidating it is. So what we're doing is actually breaking it down step by step. So we're gonna cover each topic every week, so you're not too overwhelmed with information. Again, if you do have other questions, definitely write them in the chat, or at the end we'll have a couple minutes to answer any questions. Right before we finish up, there's going to be a draw for a gift card, which is something we do during the school year. We do random draws during our programs for anyone that's participating. So we'll probably finish up about 5 minutes early, and we'll do a draw. Okay. So meal prep, like I said, it's kind of intimidating. You see it a lot on like social media, and it's really a big factor in success for weight loss, but also weight gain if you're trying to gain muscle mass, but also just healthy eating in general. Like I said, it's kind of intimidating, but if you break it down, it's actually really easy. And it just becomes something that is a habit. So we all know that it takes some time to form habits. So the most important thing with meal prep is that you break it down into easier chunks, and then you do it every week. And as the time goes by, it gets easier. It's almost like automatic, kind of go into autopilot. And we'll break down just exactly what that all means, and how we can kind of ensure our success. Okay, so what we'll get into first is actually why we do meal prep. It's more than just eating to increase your level of fitness, and if you're trying to gain weight or lose weight. It's actually a really good way of relieving stress, the stress out of cooking. It's also very cost effective. You're going to spend less time in the long run. Up front, it is a big time commitment, but if you commit those 3 to 4 hours on a Sunday, you're actually going to have more time during the week. It's going to ensure that you're adequately fueled. So if you're training, if you're an athlete, if you have kids and they're in sports, then you want to make sure they're getting enough food and the right kinds of food. And when we plan our meals, that's a way that we can make sure that we kind of check all the boxes off. When we're going through each meal, we can make sure that we covered all our nutrients and we're actually fueling our bodies. And it's actually a really good way of controlling our quality of food as well as quantity of food, because when we're eating out, we're kind of guessing at how many calories are in meals, or guessing what's in the food. We can't really control what's in the food, but when we're at home and making our own food, we can control everything we're putting into it. So it does take some organization, but if we just go with the flow and just kind of make up the meals as we go, it leads to a lot of stress at mealtime, especially when we're coming home from work or after school and we're trying to feed ourselves or our kids or the people we live with. It's not really the best time to make decisions on what we're going to eat. You're going to be stressed out. If you have something made ahead of time or prepped ahead of time, it's going to be a lot less stressful, and you can actually enjoy your meals a lot more when you're not running around trying to mix things together and serve your family or serve yourself. Okay, so do keep that in mind. It is some work ahead of time, but it's definitely worth it during the week. So we'll go through how we get started. Like I said, I find that if you break this up into different steps, it's a lot easier than to tackle everything all at once. It's important to not feel overwhelmed, because with like any goal or any habit that you're forming, if it overwhelms you, most likely you're not going to continue on with that habit. what leads to consistency is breaking it down and making it easier for yourself. So that's one of the ways you can, and that's with any habit. If you want to actually commit to changing a behavior, what you need to do is make that behavior easy for you and less stressful. And by breaking it down, that's what helps. So meal prep, how we get started is actually picking a day of the week to do all these steps, okay? Typically, a lot of people, what they do, they'll do it on Sunday. Typically, people have a Sunday off from work, and it's not really a day where there's too much in your social schedule, especially nowadays. But Sunday's traditionally when people will do a meal prep. That really, it's not a hard rule. It's whatever's convenient for you. If you find that Wednesday nights are better, by all means, pick a night that you know you're always going to have free each week, and you can bank on having 3 to 4 hours where you can dive into meal prep. Okay, like I said, don't go by anyone else's rules. It's going to be what's convenient for you. So if a Wednesday or a Thursday works better than a weekend, then by all means pick that day, but it's going to be one that you need to do consistently. Okay, after you get your day, like I said, you want to make sure you have lots of time spread out so you can dive into this. Okay, so the second thing you do is you plan your meals. So I literally will have a list. I'll have a piece of paper, and I'll start writing down meals that you can base it on two different things. You can base it on things that you feel like you're gonna want for that week, or you can base it around what's on sale at the grocery store. Obviously, if we base it on what's on sale, we can save a lot of money that way. So if you know that there are certain vegetables that are on sale and certain meats that are on sale, you're going to want to make recipes that combine those ingredients. Okay, there's no sense in writing out a really complex meal plan and then finding out that the salmon you were going to buy is twice as much as it usually is. So really try to, you can cost compare. You can go through all your coupons, and a lot of grocery stores will price match. So that's really helpful. Like you can save like at least $25-50 a week, depending on how many groceries you're purchasing on average. So if we just take the time to do that, in the long run, you're going to be saving a lot of money. I like to use an app called Flip, where it actually condenses all your coupons and flyers into one source. So you're not flipping through newspaper and having all these different flyers handy. It actually will have it all up in the app for you. So you can actually search by ingredient, or you can search by store. So if I typically eat certain foods, I will look up those foods on that app and then base my meals around the prices of those items. For me, I typically eat the same food, so I always know what kind of the price range is for those types of foods. Okay, so once you know kind of if you're budgeting, once you know what's on sale, you can start writing out different meals that you're going to want during that week based on those sale items. But you can also just base it on what you like to eat. What's important is that you are choosing meals that you already know how to cook. So when you're starting off with meal prepping, you probably aren't going to have this big list of different meals that you're going to cook. You want to stick to maybe 3 or 4 meals. And my rule of thumb is to introduce a new recipe, maybe just one recipe for one meal. Okay. Otherwise, you're going to get super overwhelmed. You don't want to be trying out new recipes each week because that's just going to add more time to your prep day. If you can narrow it down to a couple different meals and then just switch those meals around, that's kind of perfect. That's actually what you want to do. You don't want to be using these complex meals and recipes, because it's just, like I said, it's just going to add time. So you can almost go into autopilot if you have like 4 or 5 recipes that you select, make them during the week. So after we get all our meals, and that's really a matter of preference, but it's also a matter of how many meals you're eating in a day. Okay, so for me, I eat 3 to 4 meals a day and 2 to 3 snacks. So I would actually write out all those meals and all those snacks for each day. and I go from Sunday to Sunday. So you're doing 7 days, whether you're going Wednesday to Wednesday or Sunday to Sunday. There's some food that you won't be able to make 7 days ahead of time because it'll go bad. So just keep that in mind. We'll touch on that as well. But you really want to make sure you have all your meals written down. Okay. So for me, I go through each snack, each meal, and I make sure that I've written everything down so you know exactly what you're going to be picking up at the grocery store. So after I write out the meals, I write out each day of the week, and then I start plugging those meals in. Okay. So then based on that, what you can do is write out your grocery list. Okay. So after you've done all your meals, you plug them into the days of the week, then you know exactly the amounts of food that you need and the ingredients for all your recipes and your meals. Okay. Again, it's really important that you're either price matching or going through the Flip app and making sure you're saving money that way. Okay. There's different strategies with meal prep. So I'm just going to actually flip here. So I was referring to how you're going to cook your meals. So usually for the first 3 or 4 days of the week, I'll meal prep all those meals, all those snacks, and then after that, I'll just portion or assemble my food. Okay, so if I'm going to have like chicken breast and broccoli and rice on Friday and I'm prepping on Sunday, I'm not going to make that food on the Sunday. I can marinate it and I can get it ready, but I'm not going to actually cook it because by Friday it's most likely going to be spoiled. So you have to keep that in mind too. You can the rule of thumb is usually 2 to 3 days. Sometimes I push it and I go 4 days, and then I just assemble everything else. So there's different kinds of strategies. The first strategy is batch cooking, and that's basically cooking everything up and then putting them in individual containers and then dishing everything out. Okay. I like that strategy because you can kind of mix things up as you go. You have everything in separate containers, so you're not eating from like all the portioned out food. You have like a batch of rice, a batch of chicken, or if you're vegan, you have like a meat alternative. Then you have your fruits and your vegetables, and they're all in like separate containers. This is really easy to do when you're working from home, or if you're studying from home. You can basically just go to your fridge, you take a plate with you, and you just serve everything, just almost like it's buffet style. So that one's really good if you're like working from home. But if you're going somewhere, you can't really do that. The best thing for that would be the portion strategy, which means you're actually putting everything out in containers. So you have all your portions, and you basically have a meal for each container. So that is a bit pricier because you have to buy containers for each day of the week. But it's super quick. You just grab it and go. It's really easy if you're out of the house for work or if you're traveling. The only downside to that is the flexibility. So if you feel like you're getting sick of a certain food, you can't really go in and mix all your food because it's already batched and prepared, so and portioned out. So just keep that in mind. Also, you can't do that for every day of the week because at the tail end of the week, those foods are going to spoil. And also, some foods spoil a bit quicker. So if you have rice and chicken and vegetables, sometimes the vegetables will go bad before the chicken goes bad. And it's just kind of a lot of calculations and making sure that you're not wasting any food. The next one is an assembly method. So this would be cooking all your food ahead of time, or not cooking it and just prepping it. So chopping all your vegetables, preparing your meats. You can chop them up if you're used to having smaller portions. And then keeping everything in the fridge so that when the time comes, you can pull it out, cook it. This is usually really good for dinners, but obviously during the day, you probably want all your foods ready to go. So you have to take the time to cook it. But this is probably the one that you want to use if you really need fresh food. There's a lot of people that can't eat food that's prepped ahead of time. So this is what they would do. They would basically do everything they could to make it easier for them when they go to cook their meals. Like I said, some people just won't eat food that's like leftover or like cooked ahead of time. So this would be their strategy. Okay. So a couple tips that we'll go through. You're gonna want to find a system that works for you. So a lot of people will copy like a meal plan or a strategy that they see on social media and find that it's just too much. It's too many new recipes, that the strategies don't work with their lifestyle. Like say they're not working from home, so they can't do the batch cooking. You really want to find something that's easy for you and efficient for you. Don't just copy someone else's template. If you don't know what works for you, by all means, you can try to do meal prep a certain way that you see on social media, or if one of your friends does it a certain way, try it out, see what works for you. But there's no real rules. It's whatever's more convenient for you and whatever works with your lifestyle. Also keep it simple. My meal prep is is very simple. When like during the week, I basically eat the same meals. Just kind of rotate through different foods. I use a lot of different spices, so that's how I make things different. But for me, it saves so much time when I'm only picking 3 or 4 different meals to make, because I have those recipes in the back of my mind, and so you kind of go on autopilot, and you can hammer out all your meals in, like I said, 2 to 3 hours. And don't be surprised if at first it takes longer, but as you go, each week you get quicker and quicker and more efficient. You learn kind of different techniques and tricks with your own kitchen, and maybe you're cleaning a bit faster or cleaning as you go, and maybe you have certain utensils you use. But each week you learn a bit more, and you get quicker and quicker what you're making. Practice makes perfect. So obviously each week you're gonna kind of cut down on that time that you're in the kitchen, and please don't try to tackle more than one new recipe or one new technique, because you just get way overwhelmed. So take it slow. Start with meals that you already know how to prepare, and then slowly add things to your repertoire. So those are kind of the steps that we take. And like I said, we're not going to get into all the steps all at once. We break it down each week, so it's simple and you don't get too overwhelmed. But those are the 3 steps we do. We always make our meal list. Then after we have our meal list, we write out a shopping list. And then while we're doing that, we're checking prices, and making sure that what we're buying is on sale, or it's just food that we enjoy eating. And then from there, we can make our grocery list. So that's kind of the first phase, and all that stuff is usually done in the morning of a meal prep, because it's the first stage that you get taken care of. And then if we break it down like that, it's a bit easier, because if you're doing this and then you go and do your grocery shopping and then you do your cooking, it's a lot. So we're going to be breaking it down each week. You can do your meal prep all in one day. Like you can do your grocery list, your menu, and your schedule all in one day, and then go grocery shopping and then do meal prep. Or you can spread it out between 2 days, because it is a big chunk of time. Sometimes we don't have 3 or 4 hours to do that, depending on how fast you grocery shop too. That's another thing. That's a whole skill on its own, right? Getting in and out of the grocery store and knowing kind of what to look for and how to make that process easier. We'll get into that next week. But those are kind of just the tips and tricks that we've kind of broken down and tried to make more digestible and easier. So keep that in mind. It's just, we want to go take it step by step. So at this point, I just want to see if you guys have any questions, and feel free to unmute yourself if you do, or you can just stay in the chat. It's really up to you. You can write them in the chat. I'm going to go take a look and see. Give me 1 second. Okay, so I don't see anything in the chat. So what I'm going to do is introduce Michelle Royer. She's our fitness coordinator at our Newnham campus, and she'll be doing a draw as I was talking about at the beginning. She's going to be doing a draw for a gift card, just as an appreciation for everyone visiting and participating in our program. So I'll let you take it away, Michelle.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Tazine, Patricia, and Lisa. As Chris said, I'm the fitness coordinator at Newnham campus, and this semester we are giving participation rewards prizes. So we're dropping in on classes and workshops that we're doing so that we can just give away a $10 gift card. This week it'll be to Amazon, and that is basically just to thank you so much for participating in our programs. And today I have picked Patricia. You were the first one I saw on the list.
Awesome.
So Patricia, congratulations. You won a $10 Tim Hortons gift card. Sorry, Amazon gift card, I mean.
Thank you so much, Ms. Royer. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome. So Patricia, if you could just do me a favor and type in chat your email and student number, that would be great. And actually, if you registered, I might be able to get it off the registration form.
Yeah, I did register. I have been registered.
Okay, so then what's your last name, Patricia? And then I'll look it up.
Yeah, spell it for you as M-I.
M-I.
Y-A-S-H-I-R-O.
I-R-O. Thank you, Patricia.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody else, for joining.
Thank you. It was great. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Michelle.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Awesome. So yeah, if you guys don't have any questions, I just want to say thank you. Thanks for joining us. And next week we'll be on grocery shopping, and we'll share some tips on how to grocery shop efficiently, get in, get out, and then have the rest of your day to meal prep. So thank you for joining us. If you do have any other questions, shoot me an email. It's chris.souza@senecacolleges.ca. And what I will be doing is sending out this as well, this recording, as well as the PowerPoint that you guys just had, I just had on the screen. Okay, so thank you very much. Be well, and we will see you next week. Take care.